All right, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakah Kwadash, and of course, as always, double honors to our apostles and our elders that rule well at Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim that are preaching this word in all truth and sincerity. Shalom to you few Aquathium, the sisters, as well as Aquathium, Slakia Akim, the brothers, Wa Banyam, the children of you Israelites that are not necessarily prophets but believe. All right, Shalom, which means peace. Okay, this is 2nd Esdras 16 and verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. This is no longer, all right, the case. Okay, victuals are becoming more and more expensive as we move forward. Okay, as we enter, spring, summer of the year 2026 and on out, things are going to become more expensive. It's not necessarily that things are becoming more expensive, but this fiat currency, this debt is increasing. All right. The dollar is losing its buying power. And the petrodollar, which is the, Federal Reserve note, the United States currency, is on its way out. It's dying. And it controls, global market. A lot of these countries have to exchange in that currency, which is why you got nations, countries coming together and bringing about their own currency. Some of those nations being the BRICS, okay, which is trying to separate themselves from the petrodollar and system in which the world currently does business. So it's not necessarily that victuals, goods are becoming more expensive, but that the petrodollar is dying. Okay. And it's going to die completely. Okay. You remember years ago when we witnessed what was going on in Venezuela. That's going to happen here in America, which is Babylon the Great. But it's going to be on roids. Hyperinflation on steroids. Okay, you remember prior to that, when Greece was going through difficulty with the banking system, okay, which Greece is one of the weak toes within the beast system, within the end of this last kingdom. All right, where it says 5 were weak and 5 were strong. Okay, that's dealing with, NATO, EU countries, all right, such as Greece being one of them. And we watched and seen how it was so bad out there. Banks would only allow the people of Greece to withdraw $60 from their bank account each day. All right, that was a limit. Even if they say they had hundreds of thousands in their bank, tens of thousands. Okay, the banks were only allowing them to withdraw $60 a day. All right, and those women out there, they were losing it. They were in a bad case. They had to resort to selling their box. All right, for y'all that are not hip to, that slang talk. Okay, they had to resort into selling their bodies. All right, giving sex for something as simple as a meal. Okay, it was well reported that, the women out there in Greece at that time were giving sex for sandwiches, man. Okay, something that would cost us out here $1, $2 to make. That's how bad it was out there. And America is going to get it real fucking bad. All right, America, Babylon the Great, is going to be shut off from the world. Okay, it's going to be in a corner. Nobody's going to be looking to help or send aid to this place. All right, it says, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine. Sword deals with violence, wars. Okay, we're going to see civil unrest. All right, class wars, race wars. Okay. People are going to be killing each other over toilet paper, man. Over bars of soap. Okay. Over a bag of uncooked beans, man. Okay. Famine, which is lack of food, water, and great confusion. People ain't going to know what the fuck to do. All right? That's why you women out there, okay, you Aquathium, you sisters out there that believe, keep on believing. Okay, you might bump your head, you might bump heads with your husband. Hey, be right with that man. Treat him right. Especially if he's a man risking his life to prophesy. Okay, doing the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, because men are going to be the means of your salvation. Okay? Men are going to be the saviors upon Mount Zion. All right? The scriptures say that upon Mount Zion shall appear many saviors. That's talking about the elect men. Okay? So treat your man right. All right? And you women that don't have a man that believe, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai gonna give you a man. Just keep on believing. It says not to doubt. The scriptures say all throughout. Don't fear and not to doubt. To have faith. Okay, we need to have faith. All right? It says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. People are going to die because they ain't going to be able to get food. And yes, you could go to the store. Victuals are cheap. You could still go to the store and buy food. Not saying that it's as cheap as it was 20, 30 years ago. Shoot, 15 years ago. All right, I remember first coming to the truth, 2014, about 12 years ago. With $200, you were able to leave the store with a full shopping cart. Now with $200, you're lucky if you fill up a third of that shopping cart. Okay? But in a sense, victuals, goods are still cheap because you can still go and purchase these things. But real soon, that's not going to be the case. All right, real soon, a loaf of bread is going to be $20 fucking dollars. Okay? Which is more than most of our people's minimum wage. Even if you're making $25, $30 an hour, Uncle Sam, all right, Big Brother E, taking his cut before you even get that check, man. Okay? Gas is going up to $7 a gallon. All right? Pretty soon, people ain't going to be able to afford to get to work. Okay? You don't have a car. Okay. You ain't going to be able to afford to pay, all right, the fees for a Uber or a Lyft. Okay? Because they're going to have to increase their payouts and shit. All right? Take heed to what we're saying, man. Take heed to these scriptures and repent to the Lord. Because the scriptures say, his servant shall eat, his servant shall drink. When shit hits the fan. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is going to give us a way out. All right, remember when we were in Egypt and we fled Egypt, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, okay, he turned murky waters, all right, waters that were bitter, fresh. Okay, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai gave us water, gave us fresh drinking water out of a fucking rock. And Salaki, I don't mean to call it an effing rock, but out of a rock. So Salaki on that part. I'm just excited, you know. And I didn't mean it in a bad way, but you know, it just sounds bad, you know, saying that. So Salak on that part. Or having the manna. Okay? Manna, the dew, coming out the sky and forming into food that will sustain us. Or the swoops of quail. Okay, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai performed miracles then, and he's going to do it again. All right? It's going to be magnified in this time. The brothers are going to have spiritual powers to create food out of thin air, to summon food. Okay? This is not a joke. This is not some, you know, some bugged out doctrine. This is the truth. Okay? It says, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And this is going into 2/3 of our people and these other nations. All right, 1/3, the elect are not going to go through those things, man. Remember how Yahushua told the disciples, he said, there are some of you standing here that shall not taste of death. He wasn't talking about at that moment. He wasn't talking about during that ancient Roman Empire. Yahushua was talking to them about now, the regeneration. He was talking to them about these times. That there are brothers and sisters, believers of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, that are not going to die, man. Okay? He said, if my servants were of this kingdom, then would my servants fight. Paraphrasing. Okay, Yahushua wasn't talking about then, because he said it. He said, if my servants, you know, if this was it, my servants would fight. All right, he was telling them we'd be whooping your fucking asses. But prophecy had to be fulfilled. Okay? Yahweh Shai is talking about these times. These are going to be the times where the servants of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai are going to fight. All right? Brothers are going to be given spiritual power to defend themselves, to defend others. Okay? Isaiah 4:1 is going to happen because brothers is going to be protected and brothers are going to be protectors, man. Okay? It says that the women, 7 women, are going to cling to one man to take away their reproach. Okay? That means to be a lord over them and a shield unto them. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. We're going to see total anarchy out here, man. Okay? Not just America, in various parts of the world, but America's going to get the shit end of the stick. All right, the scriptures say the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. Okay, employment is coming to a halt. Now you're lucky if you find full-time work. And if you find full-time work, okay, your rate of pay isn't that great. And then you'll find a job that's part-time, and it'll seem like, wow, I'm getting $26 an hour to work part-time versus somebody that's making $23 an hour full-time. You're breaking about even. Okay? If not, the person making $23 an hour full-time is making more than you. Okay? Now, it's a major difference if it's, 23, 24 versus, 17, 18. But a $5 difference working full time is, you coming up a little bit more. All right. It says, and the city shall be cast down, and the city shall be cast down. You're going to, in that time, there ain't going to be no women roaming around, titties all out, ass all out. Okay? If a woman thinks she's just gonna get by being a thought pocket, all right, she gonna get ravished, and then there ain't gonna be no food. So people might feast on her. People will feast on her. Okay. That's why we think about our seed, our children. Brothers that got wives. The scriptures say, be as though you had another wife, but that's your wife, that's your possession. You're thinking about, how you're going to protect her. You serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, because wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of our times, man. Strength of salvation. Okay? That's what's going to keep us sane and hopeful. Give us faith. All right, allowing us to pray and receive through faith. The scripture says that, you praying and wavering, you're not going to receive a dang thing from the Lord. You have to believe that he is, man. You have to believe that he's actually there listening to you. All right, if you don't believe, you're dead already, man. You're through. You're condemned already if you don't believe. That's why the scriptures say not to doubt. Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai knows our frame. He knows where we're weak and where we're strong. That's why this is not a thing about individualism, man. You cannot do this on your own, man. Okay, what did Jethro tell Moses? He said you can't do this on your own, man. You'll wear yourself out. Okay, that's why it's a shame if a brother's alone and thinks that he just got it. Okay, that he'd rather be alone. A lot of times a guy that's like that is because he got something to hide. You know? The scriptures say that it's a beautiful thing for brethren to dwell together in unity. Okay? It's a beautiful thing for brothers to coexist, to be around one another. You know? It says verse 24. It says, there shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be thrown in concentration camps. All right, these so-called FEMA camps, ICE detention centers. Okay, you think ICE is just out there to surveillance and apprehend illegal immigrants? No, man, those are those fucking troops that are badged to counter illegal immigration. But pretty soon, those same people are going to switch badges into being, mercs. Okay? Body snatchers, man. See, this devil Esau, the so-called white man, the scriptures call him the serpent. Okay, the scriptures say that he is wiser than Daniel. Okay? He is not a fucking fool. All right? It says, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of his city there shall be left, for of his city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. See, it's going to be like the Gestapo, man. He's still going to have these mercs going door to door. And remember, they brought that up about ICE, able to go door to door. They're setting all these laws and legislation in place, okay, which is a form of their fucking witchcraft because it's spelled out. All right, it's made a decree. And, these people that are passing these bills and not revolting, which we don't have to do that. All right, because we have Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. But those of you that are constitutional and believe in this system, you're giving these devils a right. You're signing your life away to these demons to just being able to run up in your shit. See, we know they're going to come looking for us. But the scriptures say when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is going to lift up a standard against him. Okay, like Iran said about American troops invading, they said, not only are we ready for them to invade, but we are also confident. Okay? Not only are we ready for Esau to come in and think he's going to just pluck us, but we're confident that Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is going to intervene for us, man. Okay, see, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, he is going to lift up that standard against this devil, man, when he comes in thinking he's just going to do away with us. You read the scriptures, man, how many times nations came against us and Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai intervened. Always. Always. Even when Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai was against us, he always had mercy on the elect, on the remnant. Okay? It says, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. And that's why I got this thumbnail of a screenshot I took that's being published all throughout the news and media right now. This is Fox 11, Los Angeles, out of California. It says U.S. Army raises enlistment age to 42, drops marijuana waiver rule in major 2026 overhaul, which the marijuana waiver rule was that if you were addicted or found to be using marijuana, THC substances, products, you couldn't enlist, you couldn't join the military and receive, how they give you money for signing up. But now they're saying, no, we taking everybody, all hands on deck. And it's not going to be no in the age of enlistment. When World War breaks out, if you could aim a fucking gun, okay, you got hands and feet, you could move around, you could make conscious decisions, they gonna throw you the fuck out there. Shoot, if you a tard, okay, they just gonna strap a nuclear backpack on you and shoot you out of a catapult, man. Being funny with it, but it's gonna be all hands on deck, man. The enlistment age to 42. Okay, you know how many Americans out here are obese and, you compare an American to one of these Iranians, okay, you'd be considered a person with disabilities, man. You got heart problems, breathing issues, overweight, pre-diabetic. All right? But that's what the scripture said, about what it said. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. See, it's going to be a lot of you dead people, man. And they could draft women now. All right? You women wanted those equal rights. All right? You got equal rights to give an equal fight out there in the Middle East. All right? And what's going to happen to a lot of you women out there, you don't get ravished. You don't get snatched up by Iranians, by, these Ishmaelites. Okay? You can get snatched up. You can get ravished, which the word ravished simply means raped. And what the word rape means simply means to be seized, to be taken by force, against your will. All right, we're warning you. Okay, when I say you, I'm talking about our people, these so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right, we were set up to warn the sheep. Okay, now it's between you and Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai if you're going to take heed to this and repent or not. All right? This is verse 35. Hear now these things and understand them. See? Hear now these things. Hear the prophecies. Okay, listen to us prophesy. And understand them, meaning take heed. Everybody can see that World War III is here. You got people coming out and can see that America's currency, the American system is through. It's finished. All right? It says, ye servants of the Lord, which the servants of the Lord are Israelites. Okay? Behold, the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, receive it. Receive this word. And to receive this word means to believe on it. To know that it is true. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. These plagues are drawing nigh. All right, not only is the CDC and the, World Health Organization warning of a Maziz X. Okay, I've heard of people talking about a new variant that people are catching, which is all the same shit. It's just mutated. Okay, and it's all by design. Because Esau, the so-called white man, the devil, okay, is the sword of the Lord. He's doing the bidding of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai on the left-hand side. Okay, the evils. Okay, bringing about chaos, death, and destruction. All right. It says, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. Which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. And 2026 started off with a bang. And look at where we're at. Look at where we're at. All right, here it is. We're approaching April. All right, the 4th month. This is a third of the year. A third of the year we're entering into. All right, pretty soon it's going to be a quarter of the year already done. Oh, a quarter of the year is already done. Salakia, we're in a third of the year. We're entering a third of the year. And this is not letting up. It is not slacking. It's increasing. This could be the year in which they push the Karagma, which is the mark of the beast, which is a RFID microchip. Okay? They're already bringing out AI robots and things of that nature, man. This is not slacking a moment. It's not going to let up. It's going to keep going. Okay? It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. And the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Sorrows are increasing. Suicide rate skyrocketing, man. Homelessness, drug addiction. I was telling the brother just the other day, yesterday, I had seen this woman. She couldn't have been any older than 22 years old, and that's me giving a far out estimate. She looked like she was 19, maybe 20, but she could have been older. Now she's drugged the fuck out. I seen her today. I was out and about, and with one of my parents, and I had seen her again on the bike, and I told my parent, I was like, I seen that girl yesterday. asking for change. And you can just see, the scriptures tell you to do good unto a goodly person. Okay, you can't just be giving your money out to these demons, man. I say that because you're giving out your energy, your substance to a demon, to somebody that's just going to go take what you worked for and go use it on witchcraft, man. Go use it on sorcery. Go use it to get fucking high. Go use it for wickedness. Scriptures say do good unto a godly person. So when the woman asked me right away, I was like, nah. I didn't even say anything. I just put my head down and walked away. Like ignored her. I looked into my phone or something. But anyways, so I seen this woman, and she didn't even look that old. 22 at the oldest, but I'm thinking she was like 19, 20. And just through. Looked super fucking twacked out off meth, dirty. And the way I knew it was the same chick is because she was wearing the same fucking clothing. Right on the bike. Full of fucking bags of cans and recyclables. So yeah, sorrows are increasing, man. These young women, young men are getting addicted to drugs. Okay, they're in a demonic activity. All right. Homelessness. There ain't no work. It's coming to a halt. When years ago, I remember if they wanted to build a bridge, they'd have Issachar and the other tribes, and they'd be out there and they'd have a whole bridge built in maybe 2-3 months. They're building a bridge out where we live, not even building the whole bridge, but just updating it and adding, a few, like a quarter mile or less than a quarter mile, an eighth of a mile onto it or to it. It's taking them damn near a year, and they're not even done yet. The grinding is coming to a halt, man. Okay, sorrows are increasing, man. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, man. We're telling you. This is the point in verse 40. Oh, my people, once again, this is only for Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and you have Israelite foreigners. You have Israelites that look like every nation under heaven, because us and our forefathers have mingled with the other nations. All right? O my people, hear my word. And the words of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai are contained in these scriptures, and they're being published, broken down, made known to you people by the mouth of the prophets, the men out there on the highways and byways, wearing garments with borders of blue and fringes, with the 12 tribes chart, calling themselves Hebrew Israelites, speaking the words of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. It says, make you ready to thy battle. Okay, this life that we're in is a battle. Okay, it's a struggle between righteousness and wickedness. It's a battle. It's a war. And a war and a battle is not something easy. Okay, it's not something that doesn't require work. All right, when you go to war, when you go to battle, you got to move. Okay, you got to throw blows. You got to get dirty. Okay, if you standing still in a battle, you ain't moving. All right, if you ain't moving, you're getting hit, man. And if you take too many hits, you die. Okay? So we're out here preparing you, making you ready for that battle. All right, for the return of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, so that he could find you in faith and meet and greet you with peace and mercy. All right, you need to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. And most importantly, have faith and belief. Okay? That's most important. It says, and in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. We're pilgrims, man. This is not our rest. All right, we're not looking to spend another lifetime in this bitch, man. We're not looking to raise our families here. Okay, we're not going to school to seek after a career. Okay. Now, we don't know how long we have left in here, in this place. All right, and it's not unwise, all right, to make your hell a little easier, okay, by doing a side hustle or picking up a trade, but your mind shouldn't be towards this place forever, man. Our mind should be towards getting the fuck up out of here by prophesying. The captive exile hasteneth that he may be loosed. All right. This is our profession at the end of the day. This is what we were called to do. Okay. But be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Person on a pilgrimage, they're on a quest. Okay. And the quest that we're on is for prophecy to be fulfilled. But prophecy can only be fulfilled if you're prophesying. All right, Matthew chapter 24 says, and this gospel shall be preached in all the world, and then shall the end come. So all the brothers got to wake up, the elect, the prophets got to wake up and publish his word. And then the end is going to come. Anyways, this is a long one. I didn't want it to be this long, but, you know, I had to do this. All right, do this willingly. Because this is what we were created to do. Everything else is a pastime. All right, everything else, all these other, these hobbies and things that you do is just to kill time, man. Okay, we're looking for a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's only going to come with the return of Yahweh Shai. So with that, I want to give all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakakwadash. And of course, as always, double honors to our apostles and our elders that rule well at Great Millstone. Till next time, Shalom to the elect.